Welcome back. I'm going to show you guys how I made my easy and delicious hibachi at home, and it's super affordable. For the ingredients, we're going to need 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, half a tablespoon of chicken bouillon, half a tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of pepper. We're also going to need 1 pound of shrimp, along with 1 to 2 pounds of roast beef, and I like to get mine from Sam's or Costco's. We're going to need 2 large chicken breasts. I'm going to add olive oil onto all of my meat. I'm just going to combine all of my seasonings until it's nice and combined. I'm just going to sprinkle over the seasonings all over my shrimp, steak, and chicken evenly, and I'm going to make sure everything gets seasoned well. And here I have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and this is only going to be for the chicken, but I'm going to mix my beef, and you want to make sure your meat is well coated with your seasonings. If that means going in with your hands and mixing the seasonings all into your meat, I'm also going to stir in the seasoning into my shrimp and my chicken, and I'm going to let this marinate for about 30 minutes or until I'm done with the remaining dinner. Now I'm just going to boil my rice. I'm going to list all the ingredients and the amounts that I used in my description box. Once my rice was done, I'm going to add it into my bowl, and I'm going to let this cool. You can also put it in your freezer, but this is the first thing you want to make when you're making your hibachi, is the rice, so that it can have time to cool down. Now I'm going to add my vegetables to my cast iron skillet. I just added enough oil so that it can get nice and crispy. I'm going to add in my onions, broccoli, and zucchini. You can do any vegetable you want. I just chose broccoli and zucchini. Now I'm going to add in a tablespoon or 2 to my vegetables, and I'm just going to mix this, and at this point we're just frying our vegetables so they can get nice and crispy, and we're going to make sure we leave our vegetables with a nice little bite. You never want to kill your vegetables. You always want your vegetables to have a little crunch to it. So this is just what I'm doing to my vegetables, and I added some soy sauce, black pepper, and salt. I'm just going to transfer my vegetables from my cast iron skillet onto my platter. And like I said, you want to leave a crunch to your vegetables, and you can see that the broccoli is still uniformed and the zucchini, and you want to make sure you slice your zucchini into thin slices, but not too thin. As you guys can see how I have my zucchini, and this is how the vegetables looked. Now we're just going to cook our meat. I'm going to start off with the beef, and I'm going to add some oil into my cast iron skillet, just enough to make sure that our meat does not stick. I'm going to add all of my beef, and I'm going to cook it until it's done. As you can see, I'm moving my meat around. Halfway through the cooking process, I'm going to drizzle over the soy sauce, and I'm going to give this a nice stir, and I'm also going to add about a tablespoon to my beef for the flavor, and I'm just going to mix that all together, and all these flavors are going to combine. I ended up adding a little sprinkle of chicken bouillon. Make sure you guys taste your food as you go. Like I said, I will have all the ingredients listed in my description box, and the meat was super moist and flavorful. Now I'm going to transfer my beef onto my platter. And here's a little tip: in order for your food to come out delicious, you guys need to make sure you're in a good mood and you're in a happy mood, and your food will come out super delicious. This is how all the food is looking so far. Now I'm just going to pour some more oil into my pan, and you guys can use any oil. I chose to use avocado oil, or you can use olive oil, whichever oil that you prefer to use. And I'm just going to cook up my chicken, and you guys can see how it's getting a nice brown color and it's becoming crispy. That's because of the cornstarch. I'm going to add my garlic, 1/3 of a cup of teriyaki sauce, and I'm just going to mix this together and making sure I cook my meat until it's done. I'm going to go in with some hoisin sauce and mix that really well. Once my chicken is done, I'm going to remove it from my cast iron skillet along with the rest of the meats and vegetables, and this looks so good already. And at this point, the kitchen was smelling really delicious. Now it's time to start on our rice. So to my cast iron skillet, I have some oil. I'm going to add in carrots, onions, sweet peas with a tablespoon of butter. We're going to start off with a tablespoon of butter, and we're going to gradually add in our butter as we go. Now I'm just going to add in about 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. Like I said, the recipe will be in the description box, and I'm just going to give this a really good mix. And now after the vegetables are nice and cooked, we're going to add in our egg. And I used 2 eggs. I made sure to cook my egg in butter, and I also had olive oil. I'm just speeding it up for you guys so that it can be quicker. But you just want to move your eggs around, making sure it does not stick. That's why you need enough oil and butter in your pan. When I cook my eggs, here's a little tip. I use oil and butter so it doesn't stick as much unless you have a non-stick pan. But yeah, I'm just going to add in my white rice, and this time I ended up using jasmine rice. I usually like to use basmati rice, but you guys can choose or use any rice that you like or that you have. So I'm just going to add all of my rice into my pan, and I'm just going to mix this really well and get it all incorporated with the eggs, the peas, onions, garlic, and carrots. I'm just going to add in 2 tablespoons of butter along with some more soy sauce. And here's the key to delicious rice. You want to add hoisin sauce. Yes, you want to add hoisin sauce, and I'm just going to mix this really well. And my heat is on medium heat. You want to make sure that you don't burn your rice. And we're going to sprinkle in some onion powder, garlic powder, and I'm also going to sprinkle in some chicken bouillon. The chicken bouillon will give it so much delicious flavor. But now I'm just going to stir it, and at this point my rice is done, and we're literally frying our rice. So you want to make sure you have enough oil in your pan, like I said. So once my rice is done, I'm going to start on the shrimp. I turned my eye off, and I'm just going to add in some avocado oil and a tablespoon of butter. Now I'm just going to add all of my shrimp, and I like to get my shrimp from Kroger. And I'm just going to mix this together, and shrimp does not cook that long, so we want to cook our shrimp for about 3 to 4 minutes. And you want to make sure not to overcook your shrimp. Once it turns pink, that means it's done. I did drizzle over a little bit of hoisin sauce, and I'm going to mix this together, and at this point our shrimp is done. So I'm just going to remove it from the eye, and you want your shrimp to look like this. Now it's time to serve the food. In my little square bowl, I'm going to add my rice. I'm going to add over the chicken, the beef, and on the other side I'm going to add my broccoli, onions, zucchini. Like I said, you guys can use any of your favorite vegetables, or you can use what I used, which was zucchini and broccoli. Now I'm just going to add over my shrimp, and you guys can add as much or as little as you want. I'm just going to add as much shrimp as I want, and I'm going to top it off with some green onion, and I'm going to sprinkle over just a little bit of soy sauce, and I'm just going to top it off with some delicious sriracha. And this is how my hibachi came out. It was super delicious, easy, and affordable. You guys can make hibachi at home. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Adios.